Hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Chavers,
And I'm Deb Floros. And
and
this
this
is
is
Crimp.
Crimped.
Welcome back. This is the second edition of Crimped, a jewelry series talk show. We want to thank everybody who has joined us in the group, in our Facebook page, and watching this show. We're hoping that this is a fun collaborative event that you'll watch with us, hang with us for. And Brittany Chavers and I just wanted to bring some fun and inspirational talk about jewelry making. So we're doing this monthly show. So this is our second one. If you haven't watched the first one, it is still available on the Facebook page. And I believe it is also available in the group. And today we're going to get started and talk about some really cool things. Just a reminder, the name of the show, Crimped, was inspired by a show on the Food Network called Chopped. And if you know about Chopped, it's a bunch of chefs and cooks, and they're handed some things and told, make something with this.
Make it work.
So, yes. And so we're going to do that with jewelry making. So far, we've had some fun doing that. We did a little teaser for the very first one when we put out our announcement about the show. And then we had the first real challenge in our last month's show. So, Brittany, why don't you get us started talking about the first real Crimped challenge?
Well, the first real Crimp challenge, I think I challenged you a little bit more than you challenged me, wouldn't you say? But
I would say so.
But I sustained an injury, so I think we're even.
Okay, do tell about that.
Well, actually, I just finished editing the video where I made my item for our challenge, so that'll be posting today, and then this show will probably be posting in the next couple of days. So I'm super excited about that. But Deb, what did you give me as a challenge item?
So I have one to show. I gave you a trio of champagne bottle caps. And not to like sound snooty or anything, I like cheap champagne. So I gave you 3 of these, and these are the little caps that sit on top of the champagne cork, and then they put the wire around it so that the cork doesn't fly off. So I gave you a trio of these, and I thought that might be a little bit challenging, not for you. So
when she handed me the bag, I was like, come on. I was like, thank you, but come on. Because what did I give you, Deb?
So I can only show you the aftermath. You'll have to go to the previous video or to there's a photo of it on the page. But here's what's left. You gave me one of Goldie's prescription bottles, and I actually saved the actual sticker. But here's the cap, so it's an animal prescription. Big blue bottle. Now this is all cut up because what I did was cut it up and created something with some of the pieces. So I still have lots left. I could do other things, but I think I'm just gonna. Huh?
You can make me a piece to match your piece.
I could. Or I could just put this away and just forget that this ever happened.
Yeah, it was a little traumatizing. When I handed her the pill bottle, her face was just like, are you kidding?
Oh.
But anyway, I had been planning that for months.
It's things like that, though, that I think kind of push you out of your comfort zone and open up your creative chakras. Like it just kind of gets you thinking. And my piece was nothing like what I originally thought. Like I kind of had an idea originally of what I was going to do, and it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, mine evolved as I started designing, but I knew I was going to use some type of paint with it. I knew I was going to maybe hammer them flat, but other than that, I didn't really have a plan going in. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a bead that I thought, oh, hey, this might go with what Deb gave me, and it kind of snowballed from there. I'm actually wearing my challenge piece. You can't see it, but here we go. You can see it now. Isn't she pretty?
So pretty.
I love this necklace.
tell me what you did. Tell me what you did with the actual parts I gave you.
So the 3 bottle caps, I took my mallet and my block and I whacked them and I flattened them. And then I took some vintage patina paint and painted them like a white gold. And then I actually took some brass stampings and filigrees, painted those as well to match, and riveted them to the bottle caps. So there's no glue on this necklace, but the filigrees are permanently attached by
Love it.
rivets. And then I hung some artisan beads. We've got some beads from Amy Mealy on here. We've got some
Uh,
rutilated quartz from Sam, Sam's Bead Shop. We did a live together last month, or was that this month? It was the beginning
it,
of this month.
yeah.
Deb, Sam, and I did a live sale in Tucson together. Um, and we had a blast that morning. And then, so I got these from him, and then I got some nice brass chain on here. So it kind of evolved. The funny thing is the video that I filmed was I missed, like I thought I was filming and I didn't film the part where I'm like actually riveting the pieces, so I'll have to do that and follow up. But
Dang it.
I had a lot of fun, and it stretched my creative brain muscle, because this isn't the color palette I typically go with. I usually go with cooler colors, but I went with warmer purples and coppers and things like that this time.
So how was the injury sustained?
With my hammer.
With what?
With my hammer. I was, because these are tiny and I wasn't using anything to hold them down. And of course, I was just using my fingers, and I whacked the pointer finger at least 3 times during the video. And one of them I had to stop filming because I was screaming. So, but it's not broken. It's not even bruised, but I feel like that was my penance for the pill bottle.
Yeah, maybe, but I never would have wished that on you. Never would have wished that on you.
Sure.
Well,
So
I
how did
love
you
how
come
it
up
came
with
out.
your ring idea?
Well, my original thought, so when I grabbed like some super duper scissors to cut this. So I figured I have some really nice big scissors, and I started cutting the pieces, and my thought was I was going to punch holes in them, and I was going to make like these abstract connectors and make this long, funky necklace, maybe have some hanging at the bottom, try and use as much of it as possible. And all of a sudden, like you, out of the corner of my eye, I see this ring blank. So this, oh, get it off. This ring blank, it's a square ring blank. And I'm like, maybe I could do some kind of mosaic thing, like funky, I don't know, like almost mid-century modern, like funkiness. And I grabbed the ring blank and I grabbed some clay. So I did the 2-part clay. I like to use epoxy. And so I just put the 2 parts together, pressed it into the ring blank, and then I cut a piece like this, small, like little small chunks off of it, and trying to get them into all different shapes, but essentially the same kind of shape so that they would all fit. I pressed them into the clay, and then I used like a beading awl and just kind of textured the clay around it. And that's what it looks like. It almost slightly looks like a gemstone a little bit, I think, when you see it from afar.
Yeah, it looks a lot like kyanite.
Yeah. Yeah. It has that like sort of ethereal feel of kyanite. So I love how it came out. I never thought this is where this would go, but that's where it ended up. And I had fun making it. It was a fun little project.
Super cute. I love it. It's definitely Deb. It's Deb's color. And I feel like I need to steal that ring because it's super
Right.
gorgeous. Love it.
Okay. Well, maybe we can make an arrangement of some
We
sort.
can trade. I got some artisan beads for you.
Yes, we're definitely going to have to talk about that. In fact, that's a perfect lead in. So there was a little something that happened yesterday afternoon that I thought was really exciting. And I'm sure a lot of people thought it was exciting because I looked to see today and some fun things are happening over at
Yeah.
turquoise.streetbeads.com, right?
Yeah, so yesterday was grand opening day, first drop ever for Turquoise Street Beads. If you don't know what that is, that's my new bead store. It's a mix of my handmade artisan beads, beads that I've curated. I'm calling them boutique beads because they're things that I've picked and I would use, and gifts. And so I was nervous. I did not get all of the things in the store that I really wanted to get in the store. I haven't, I don't think I've even gotten 10% of the 10 or 15% of the inventory I wanted to into the store. But the good news is that means there's going to be tons of stuff throughout the rest of the year. I'm going to do drops probably every month, if not twice a month. The next one probably won't happen until the end of March. I want to make sure I build up my inventory on the handmade beads a little bit more than I did this time. And it takes a long time to photo and get them in the shop. But I haven't even touched like the surface of what I got for everybody in Tucson. Although we did sell out pretty quickly of those heart bowls. Everybody really liked those. But there's tons of stuff. Deb was shopping with me in Tucson, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that I've gotten for the shop that just, I mean, like maybe 3% of the stuff I got in Tucson got into the shop today. So look forward to all new stuff next month. I'm not going to be making the same items, the same artisan beads over and over. I was telling Deb earlier, it's just not my favorite thing to do, to make the same thing over and over. So that means things are going to be fresh all the time. You're going to get to see new designs. And so I'm so excited, and I'm just so thankful. I was worried. I was like, oh, what if nobody buys anything?
I wasn't worried.
And I just can't believe the amount of support, and I'm just blown away. Thank you so much from really the bottom of my heart for shopping with me yesterday. I appreciate it. And those are going to start going out today and tomorrow, so I'm excited about it.
Well, I think I set a reminder on my phone to go and check it out, and I was probably in there maybe 5 minutes after the launch, and things were already starting to sell out. So I started putting things in my cart, and I'm like, okay, well, I better get these because these could be one of a kind or like two of a kind. So I better scoop these up if I like these. And that's what I would say to anybody for these drops is if it's made by Brittany, don't wait, like scoop them up because she may not ever make that again. And they are really amazing, really, truly amazing. I've seen them in person, guys, and they're beautiful. I mean, they are absolutely little tiny works of art. And Brittany, you are going to rock this, as you continue on in this adventure.
I will say two of the things you got were one of a kind yesterday, and you got one of my favorite things with those little red flowers. I might make them again though, but that crescent moon you got, I'm not going to paint exactly like that again. I might make them, but not paint like that. So that is a one of a kind piece. Congratulations. I can't remember
Yeah.
the third thing you bought.
I can't either at the moment, but I'm so excited. So I think that will be something we can show off down the road. So I know you've got a couple videos out there of you making some things, and the challenge, our first Crimp challenge, the little teaser challenge we did, you used some of your pieces there too. So I'll make something. I'll share what I make in an upcoming show.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fun, and we'll encourage all of the folks that are part of our Crimped group to share what they make with the pieces that you're selling too. So go give them the website again. We'll put a link in the comments to this show, but give them the address to your shop again.
It's Turquoise.Streetbeads.com. So super excited. I designed the site myself, and I'm just overjoyed with how it turned out. So thanks for everybody stopping by. I really appreciate it.
It looks great, Brittany. Looks really good.
Thank you. So we talked about Tucson. You want to break into our trip? We had a wild time. We had a wild time in Tucson. That's all I can describe it as.
was a whirlwind. It was a total
Mhm.
whirlwind. It's a bit of a blur now to me. Like I can't really recollect everything that happened.
Yeah. So you went down a day or two before I went down, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I was there 4 or 5 days. You were there over a week, right?
8 days.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
And we were together and separate for a lot of that time. But we had some great shopping experiences, great event experiences. I know a lot of you have questions about Tucson. And one of the hugest or the most frequently asked question is, do you have to be a reseller to get into these shows? Um, yes and no. So there are shows that are only open to people with resale licenses, but the good news is there are several, and I do mean several, that you can just walk in as a retail customer and buy to your heart's content. So, and this was the first year that I was actually a resale customer. So, and I've been going for 5 years. So that tells you that I've been able to spend enough money in there as a retail customer that you don't need a resale license. So, it was a lot of fun. Even as a retail customer, you can find amazing deals. And there is a website for Tucson shows. All you have to do is Google Tucson shows, and it'll give you a list of the entire amount of shows. And there are tens of these shows around. And I typically hit 4 or 5 really big ones if I have the time. What's your favorite show in Tucson, Deb?
Uh, well, it's evolved over the years. So I always, because I was a retail only for probably about 7 or 8 years of my trips. So I've been going yearly for about 12 or years or so. And I was retail only for the longest time. And my favorite show was always the To Bead True Blue, or it's now called Colors of the Stone, although you can find it either way online. That one's a very heavily artisan bead focused show. So I always loved that one. And I loved, meeting with the actual artisans and talking about their newest products or their newest pieces. Um, there's kind of an eclectic mix of things.
Mhm.
And back in the day when I first started going, it was in a different location. Now it's out at the big casino in Tucson, kind of off the beaten path. People don't necessarily like how far away it is, but that used to be my favorite show. Now I think I like the GL&W shows, which is the Gem Mall and Holodome. They're all kind of together, but it's this massive complex of tents, huge tents, like not just, they pitch up a tent. It's like the fancy tents. And they're massive with like finished jewelry and beads and rocks and just an unbelievable amount of stuff. And I love the fact that there's a big area where you can sit outside. So there's all these food trucks and tables, and you can sit down and take a break because you need to at that show.
Mhm.
But that's, I think, my been more of my favorite in the last few years, and that one is a wholesale show. So that one you would need a resale license to get into, but it's well worth it for the finds and the deals that you can get getting in there. So
Mhm.
that's a fantastic show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think mine, like you, has evolved over the years. Just because I learn something new every time I go to Tucson. I've been going for about 5 years, and I would say the casino and jogs were my favorite in the past. But I was never. I mean, I think when did the first time I got into the Holodome was possibly 2 years ago. I think 2021, 2022. I went with Deb and our mutual friend Julie. And then we went again last year. And then this year was the first time I went in as my own bead company. So that one I don't think is my favorite yet, but I think African Village is my absolute favorite. I just every time I go, I just have so much fun and see such amazing things. And I got to tell you, the people are just so wonderful there. They talk, they're like the salt of the earth. They talk to you. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know, are you selling this? Are you making, where, and if you know what you're talking about, they're like jaw drops, right? So that was, I think, my favorite show. I went there 2 or 3 times. No, I think I went twice. um I went to the casino a couple times. The casino, like, probably was one of my second favorites. That's the one that Deb was talking about, the colors of the stone. That's probably my second favorite because of all of our artisan friends.
Yeah.
We spent so much time there the day that we went because we were just talking,
Yes.
hanging out with Damiana and her father, hanging out with Amy Mealy and Maku Raku, and just everybody. We got to see so many people, and we got to meet up there and see our friends and shop with them too, like Nile,
Yeah.
Jill, and Danielle.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of it. Was I was tired after that day though. Like, I went home and I went back to my hotel and I was out. But it was such a great experience. And I wouldn't trade those memories, because you just, it's just the relationships that you build at these shows is, it's not just about the beads, it's about the people too.
Yeah. Totally. And that's how I approached it the very first time I went. So the very first time I went by myself.
Me too.
And I was living in the Northeast at the time. So I had flown all the way across the country, and went by myself. And I immediately wanted to make sure that I connected with certain people and got to meet certain folks and establish some of those relationships and, get to know them a little bit and have them get to know me. And I feel like those are some of the relationships that I have today that are thriving because I've been able to connect with folks over the years. That's part of the Tucson experience, is that
Mhm.
camaraderie with people that love what you love. So think about it, like, somebody that doesn't love beads or jewelry making is probably not going to be hanging out there.
No.
Um, Chances are they like jewelry making or like
Or
beads or like
rocks or something like that,
rocks.
fossils.
Yeah, which is good for me too. So I think just knowing that you're among all these people that love what you love and they're creative, getting to talk to the artisans and seeing what they make and hearing about how they make it. Even some of the stone sellers, like some of them legitimately know about the stones, not all
Yeah.
of them.
No, not all of them, but
And the African Village guys, I mean, they some of them really, know what they're talking about, know what they're selling. And so to get in there and have a real conversation about that, it's so overstimulating almost.
oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. If you watched the African Village video and you were in my video, we were just like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! I gotta touch this!" And that's right. Getting in there, having those conversations. We met somebody who was really young, and his dad's been doing this for 30 years, but this is his first bead show, and he didn't know what the heck he was doing, but he was having fun. He's like, "I never
He
wanted to
liked
do
it.
this before, but now I'm really like, people are excited about these beads, and now I'm excited." And I'm like, "Yeah." And so, it's fun seeing somebody who's just getting into it versus there are older people at African Village who have been doing this for decades, and they just, they love it. They love it. I will say, there was one experience that blew my mind. Deb, do you remember what happened in the parking garage at the casino?
Oh, yes. That was fantastic.
So, speaking of meeting people and establishing these relationships, I was helping Cindy put her items into the trunk of my SUV, and I just hear my name screamed in the garage, and I'm like, "Oh boy, what's this?" I look
Where's
over,
that coming
and
from?
there are two women fighting to get out of their van. They rushed me and said that they were very excited to see me, and that was the first time that had ever happened to me, and I will never forget it in my life. It was Mary and her sister-in-law, and later on she did send me a message saying, "Sorry, I ambushed you," but it was so wonderful that I was just like, "Oh, Oh, I will never forget meeting her in my entire life. So it's just these experiences that happen when you're in Tucson. You never know. You literally never know what's going to happen, especially in a parking garage.
Yeah,
So,
that was quite spectacular. And I had like just resorted to myself that I could finally sit down. Like I'd sat in the car and I'm like, oh, so tired. And then this frenzy of activity started and it was so hilarious. It was so fun.
speaking of get relaxing, what's our official snack of the Tucson shows, Deb?
Oh, so the gummy cluster nerds.
I mistakenly introduced Deb to those a couple years ago because it was in my bag, and every time we get them, we send each other a picture that we have the nerds. Those gummy cluster nerds are like drugs.
They are, and I am a sucker for candy. So I did bring. So for my hotel room, I always bring like bigger bags of things so that when I'm back at the room at night, I can have little snacks, and then I'll take some during the day. And I had 2 bags of those in my hotel room.
I had one bag. I wanted to get the ones that were individually like the little bags, but Walmart didn't have those when I did my
Yeah.
Walmart order. So they sent me like a big bag. So I had already cracked into them before Tucson. And then here's a tip: take snacks. I take like the individual wrapped bags of like mixed nuts or granola bars or protein bars because you're gonna get hungry while you're shopping. I call myself Bead Mom while we're shopping because I have a rolling tote. I have hand sanitizer, I have baby wipes and snacks and water. And everybody was like, what else you got in there? I was like Mary Poppins. So when you're eating lunch, you're washing you can wash the bead dirt off your hands. I even had a cooler in my car this year.
Yeah,
Everybody loved the cold
true,
water. So
true.
just be prepared because you don't want to spend $1 million on snacks and food at the food courts. It's nice getting it once in a while, but bring stuff with you. It'll keep your costs down.
Yeah, for sure. And, if you are going and staying, think about ways that you can take things with you and have them in your room because, of course, eating out is expensive. And during that time of year, it's super busy too. So, everybody's in town converging on all the restaurants. And should I tell them about our funny restaurant experience?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of 2 of them, but I know which one you're going to talk about.
So we were at the Mojo show, which is a very small boutique wholesale event. And some of the big names, Bead and Impress Art, they are at this little show. And we were there the day that they were doing their little gathering at the end of the night. And so we were hanging out with some other folks and we're hungry. Like it's getting late. We're hungry. My stomach's growling. We're getting grouchy because we want to eat. So we're Googling like what's close. And we find this Mexican restaurant and it's got lots of stars and oh my gosh, we're like, let's do it. So I think we had 3 cars all going there. And so I'm by myself and I drive and I get there and I'm like, oh man, this place is in a shady neighborhood. Like not the kind of neighborhood. Yeah.
No lights in the parking lot, dark, people like hanging out in their cars, on their cars and I'm like, where are we? But
yeah. Is this are we doing the right thing going here? And we finally connect with each other. Brittany finds me in the dark back lot parking lot, and I'm not getting out of my car until she gets there. So we get out, we go in, and it's smoky, like from the grill. Like just the smoke is wafting through the top of the restaurant, and it's loud, and people are enjoying themselves. There's a bar, and I immediately think to myself, this place has got to be good because it's packed. There's obviously locals there. And so we sit down. The people that work there were so nice. The food was amazing. And there was Spanish karaoke, which was fantastic. It was so much fun.
And I had the best enchiladas of my life. People were walking around with like roses and bracelets to sell, and we were just like, where are we? This is amazing. The funny thing is, I told my mother about it. She went down by herself to go to that place.
Oh
She
my
went and had lunch.
gosh.
She went shopping down there and had lunch by herself there. She said it was the best lunch she's ever had in her life.
I could
Somebody
not.
gave them. Somebody gave her part of their birthday cake. She wasn't even part of like their birthday party, but yeah. So I know we're off topic, but it was just wild. It was wild. I don't remember the name of it, but if I remember, we'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about the food. Still can't stop thinking about it. So next year when we go, that will have to be part of the itinerary for the trip.
2 or 3 times, because Deb loves Mexican food. I've learned that. At
I
one point, I said, we were like, "Where are we going to eat?" No, Mexican. And I love Mexican food.
Before I could even get it out of my mouth, she's like, "No Mexican."
I'm obsessed with Mexican food, but by that point, I was like, "No Mexican." She's like, "Oh."
Well, I think this was one of my. I mean, every year I love this experience. I'm actually a little sad when I drive home from this experience because I feel like, all of the fun and the overstimulation, the sights, the sounds, the hugs, the beads. When it's over, it's like, but I think this was one of the best years. I just had a blast. I can't wait again till next year.
Yeah, me too. And the thing is, like, it's been several weeks and I still haven't gotten all my haul videos done. I have several behind the scenes videos that I need to post. So those are coming. Those are coming, we promise. But it's just been a whirlwind since we got back with a lot of things that we've been doing. So
Yes, for
patience.
sure. Yes, for sure. I will vouch for that. So if you guys want to hear more of our Tucson adventures, we'll be happy to share. But we got some other things to talk about today. Now, one of the things that we asked kind of in the early stages out in the group and on the page is, what do you guys want to know about? And we want to try and incorporate some of the things that you're interested in, either as just kind of quick hit topics or a broader topic if we have time to cover a broader topic. So today we're just going to take some little small ones and talk about those and let you know we're hearing you guys. Please keep the suggestions coming. And Brittany, I can start with, I know somebody expressed an interest in understanding the use of French wire. And I know that's not something you really use, but it's a design staple for me.
I like to use it. I don't know how to use it. So now I'm learning. I got to learn. I got to go watch Deb's channel.
So I like to use it for finishing necklaces and bracelets. So some folks use wire guardians. Some folks will just use their beading wire, which is all of those things are perfectly good, perfectly fine. And French wire is primarily used for knotting. So folks will put their finishing touches on their knotted pearls and things with a little piece of French wire over their silk, which protects the silk from fraying and adds kind of a little finishing touch at the end of their piece. But years ago, I saw a designer do this in a video. It was a really old YouTube video that I saw, and I went, oh, Eureka, like that's what I want to try to do. And I have not stopped doing it since. I use it for most bracelet ends, most necklace ends, and all I'm doing is cutting a small piece and sliding it over my beading wire. So I put together just a short little YouTube video on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Deb Loves Jewelry, and it's LUVS. And it's getting some attention out there, probably one of my most watched videos on my fledgling little YouTube channel. So I can certainly post a link to the video for you guys, but if you go out and find my YouTube channel, there's a little video on how I finished a necklace with it. If you want to know more about it, we can do a little more of a detailed discussion about it another time, but it's just a a way that you can add a little finishing touch to a bracelet or necklace, and just a little bit of a different technique that maybe you might want to try out. So
Deb, do you have a specific company that you purchase your French wire with?
I mostly use Beadalon's French wire. I find that the quality is really excellent. They have several different metal tones and a couple of different sizes. The point, I keep thinking I'm going to flip around and grab it out of my drawer here. This packaging is really awful because I have it folded up and it's been, the packaging was pulled off, but this is the packaging. I know it's backwards, but
No, it's showing me the right way.
Oh, is it okay? Good. It's backwards to me. So 0.80 millimeters is the size I like for most beading stringing wire. So the Beadalon product is really good. There's a couple of others out there, and I actually did purchase some on eBay. I think it was eBay, because I was looking for a very specific metal color. You know, sometimes a gold or a silver is a little bit different. So I wanted to find a very specific color for a piece that had been commissioned. And so I did purchase it, and it came all the way from like Pakistan or something. Oh, wow. So if you search French wire in, different places, you could probably find different products, but I probably 95% of the time use the Beadalon product. It's excellent quality, and you get a decent amount of it in their packages. So you're only using a little bit each time you make something. So that package will last you for some time. I love it.
I'm going to have to add that to my stash so I can try it out.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about, another question was around what are the best, I think somebody asked, what are the best cutters out there?
So I've been using the same cutters for several years, and you'll see them on my channel in just about every video. I use these Beadalon, and I cannot remember the name of them, but I'm going to post this on my YouTube as well, so I'll have a link to them in my Amazon store. These blue flush cutters, these are my favorites. Just as long as you don't cut really hard wire with them, they'll be amazing. They cut like butter through everything, and they're very comfortable. I've had 2 pairs in about the last 3 or 4 years, and the one pair I got rid of because I accidentally cut memory wire, and I didn't know it was memory wire when I was cutting into it. So thankfully, Beadalon replaced them for me. But yeah, that's my favorite type of cutter.
I have a couple that I really like, and I have to say I'm really hard on cutters. So this is probably the tool that I've replaced the most over my jewelry making time. So one of my favorites is the Xuron cutter. So it's their blue handle. They make a couple of different ones. They actually make, this is a brand new package for their orange handled one. I like this one too, but probably my favorite is the blue, and it's the tapered head micro shear flush cutter. And I think the series is 9200. These are great. I like these, but I also really like these from Beadalon. These are their semi-flush cutters in their ergo style. So these, you see the shape of the handles. They're very ergonomically good for your hands. So I don't know, I use them for different things, but these 2 have actually lasted me for quite some time, and they still look like they're in decent shape when I check them out. So
you said you use them for different things. What do you use them for different things for?
So I find that if I'm just cutting like wire off of a spool or off of a package, I like to use the Beadalon ones. If I'm getting into cutting off of like a project I'm working on, so I'm already have the project assembled, these are a little bit easier to get into places to trim. So if you're trimming off your excess when you're finishing a necklace or a bracelet or even a pair of earrings and you're getting up close to that bead, I don't know, these to me seem like they can get in a little bit closer to what you're trying to cut from, but these cut a nice flush piece of wire or beading wire, stringing wire, that kind of thing. So
while you were showing yours, I realized that I have a pair of Xuron. It's still new in package, and I don't know which ones they are. I think they look a little different than the one that you have, so I'll have to try these out. They're micro shear flush cutters. Is that what you have?
yeah, they're the same ones.
Okay, well, I'll have to try those out. I've had them for a while. I think I got them from JTV, and I just haven't had a chance to use them. So
yeah, I
very cool.
have a few others stashed. My tools are behind the computer here, but I have a few others that I use, but these are my absolute favorites. And I just recommend, like, if you're just getting started, don't overthink it. Like, try out different cutters. Don't go out and buy the most expensive one to start with, because you're more likely in the beginning to wreck them. So wreck the inexpensive ones first and then invest when you're ready. But I think just it's personal preference. And sometimes the way you use, the feel of the handles, you might want to do something different. So, it's personal preference.
I had for years and years, I had $5 cutters, that I got from the craft store. And that was while I was making jewelry to sell for my full-time job. So it's just whatever feels right to you. Eventually they were this style. I still have some of the pliers from back then, but it's just whatever feels good for your hand. And makes your piece look the way you want it to look. So there's no right answer.
Yeah, agree. And that brings me to the last question, which was actually the first post that somebody made asking for some advice. And I think someone posted that they felt like their hands were really getting kind of wrecked while they were making things with wire. And I feel like there was some advice given by some of the other members. Thank you guys for chiming in. I think one of the keys to working with wire is making sure that, we were just talking about tools. Make sure you're leaning on your tools, not leaning on your hands. So let the tool do most of the work. And I think with wire, probably, any kind of protection that you're going to use on your hands might actually make it harder to work with the wire. You could wear gloves. You could, find a way to put something onto your hand that protects you. But I think if you're using your tools correctly, you shouldn't have so much wear or so much, problems with the hands. What I would suggest, though, is always make sure that you have eye protection when you're working with wire. And so I got these guys always because I can't see without them. So, so I've kind of got the built-ins, but Brittany, do you, and I don't know, we're kind of bad because we probably don't do it as much as we should, but do you have the little glasses, the safety glasses things? Do you ever use those?
So I'm more of a do as I say, not as I do person. I don't use eye protection. My eye protection is my eyelids. I'll close them a little bit when I'm sniffing stuff. I do have glasses, but I don't even have them in my jewelry room. I have them in my clay room because I use them for when I'm sanding. The thing I will recommend is when you are clipping. So let's say I have a piece of wire. Second, I have a piece of wire and I'm going to make the cut. Hold the wire when you're cutting it so your piece doesn't go flying, or put your finger over it. Now, if you watched the video that I posted from Tucson where I was interviewing Meredith Roddy from Bead, they have a new set of pliers coming out or a new set of nippers that eliminates the need to hold on to it. So I cannot wait for those.
Can't wait to get my hands on those.
Yeah, so they're supposed to be coming out, I think, later next month, and sometimes maybe in Q2. But make sure you're holding onto your piece, because that flying piece is going to go and your foot's going to find it later, or your dog, or something's going to happen. So just make sure you're controlling your project when you're cutting.
Yeah, I think I had a piece of wire hit my window next to me not too long ago. And that reminded me, that was like, oh, I need to make sure I'm always, I mean, I'm pretty good about it. Like it's
I
just sort of
know.
automatic. But for some reason that day, I was probably in a rush and trying to get something done. And the wire just flew off into the window. And I thought, okay, that could have been the cat, could have been,
Mhm.
somebody standing in here, not that my husband comes in here all that often. He's kind of afraid. Um,
I would be too. But the thing is, Deb, you and I have been making jewelry for so long. We typically know how wire's going to react. So probably
yeah,
subconsciously you knew that was going to fly, but you knew nothing was going to hit you or somebody wasn't in the spot where it was going to go. But if you are a newer person, please, please, please
yeah,
wear the eye protection, cover your projects, because honestly, I know how I cut something, how it's going to react most of the time. I know it's not going to come flying at my face depending on the angle that I'm cutting it at, but if you're newer, you're not going to know that.
yeah. I do have the glasses. I'm going to post a picture in the group of the kind of glasses, and maybe we can even post pictures of our preferred cutters too
Yeah.
for folks. So if they want to take a look at those later. So guys, we still have a whole list of things that you want to hear about. So Brittany and I will keep bringing those into the conversations, and feel free to give us more ideas, because we want to have some chats about these things that you're interested in. So keep that good stuff coming to us. So there's a list. I've got a list over here off to the side, and we still have quite a list of things. So we'll
Long, and we're adding every day, because it's just endless. The new things come out, new ideas come out, and it's just, that's why we're doing this series, right? We want to be informative, but we learn along the way too. So
yeah, of course. So, okay. So we've decided we've got a couple of things we always want to do monthly. And one of the things is we want to share with you our favorite pieces that we've made since the last time we met. So, I think last month we just said, what's a recent thing, because it was our first show, but now a whole month has gone by. So, we've got some things we want to share with you that are our favorite makes, our favorite pieces that we've recently made. So Brittany, do you have something you want to share?
well, it's this necklace. I slaved over this necklace. I injured myself over this necklace. So she's my new favorite. Oh, we've got it turned around. Hold on, let me fix it. Oh. So she's my new favorite. Like I said, that new video is probably already out if you're watching this channel or this video right now. So head on over to my channel, which is Turquoise.Street on YouTube. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. I got to really get into some of the things that I haven't seen in a while, like my beads from Zaz Beads, my filigrees. So yeah, this is one of my favorite things. Some of the other favorite things probably are some of the things that I sold in the shop yesterday, my little pieces. But we Deb and I make a lot of jewelry. So I couldn't even tell you what I made 2 weeks ago. I gotta go back and look for it.
It's kind of a blur
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you, Deb? What's your new favorite piece?
So, this past Wednesday, I participated in this really fun virtual event. It was called Inspired by Sundance. So, if you don't know Sundance, there's a Sundance catalog. There's actually a few Sundance stores, brick and mortar stores, and their style is very sort of Western-ish. It's hard to describe, but I think the company was founded by Robert Redford.
Mm.
And if you've never seen Sundance, go check out Sundance catalog or Sundance on the internet, because they have amazing clothing and things for your home, but the jewelry is to die for. And I've had their catalogs as inspiration in my studio forever. They are incredible, the way they lay out their jewelry. So long story short, too late. There was a event that Abby Berta from the Bead Place put on. And there was a group of us. So Neelay Patel, Cassandra Spicer, Heather Powers, a bunch of folks from all different shops and different groups came together, and we made Sundance inspired jewelry. So here's my necklace that I made.
Oh, yes, I did see that. That's beautiful.
It's got some leather and some chain, and this is very reminiscent of a piece in the catalog called Fire and Rain. And I kind of put my own spin on it. It's a little bigger, kind of bigger pieces than what is in the actual necklace. And then this is actually a little bit smaller. One of the little gemstone bracelets that you'll see on their site, just really kind of organic and fun. And my favorite, sorry, this is a threefer, is these earrings. So little turquoise coin pieces and some freshwater pearls. These are really close to some earrings that I saw on their site. So I'm crazy about these pieces. These are all staying in my personal collection. Although I did make a pair of the earrings for my stepmother because she liked them. So those are going to her this week. But I had a blast at that event, and so many inspiring pieces. I'm sure you guys can find it out there if you search on Facebook or even YouTube, Inspired by Sundance. It was like an hour and 20-minute video, really fun. Everybody making some really cool things. So that was my favorite from the last month for sure.
Awesome. I love what you made because you got turquoise in there.
Anytime I got turquoise, I get your attention.
And approval. You always have my approval, Deb.
So one more featured thing for the month before we get to our challenge. So we want to just talk about, what are you obsessed with right now? A technique, an artisan, I don't know, just anything jewelry related. Is there something, Brittany, that you're really obsessed with right now?
I think my answer last month is probably close to the same answer as this month. Last month it was polymer clay. This month it's painting, but it's painting polymer clay. So, because I've had to do so much of it in the last month to get ready for my shop, and I don't see that changing over the next few months. But even painting, I painted the items in this necklace. I painted another necklace that I did for a tutorial. So probably paint right now.
Yeah, that's really addicting. I would say my obsession right now is blue. So I'm wearing blue. Got my blue cutters, but it's just an example. But I'm really drawn to making things with blue. So I did this really fun macrame, which was my obsession last month, still kind of hanging on. But these blue beads just kind of sang to me, and the cording is blue too. So I just kind of did a little bit of blue overload, but I'm finding myself making blue pieces. The first thing I made from Tucson was with blue recycled glass, African glass, and a tie pendant that has some blue in it.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
I can show you. You have to lean over the camera, but I've got
up my alley.
This guy.
Oh, I did see that. It's gorgeous. Oh, I love her. Very beautiful.
So these blue beads, I didn't have any blue African glass, and I picked up only one strand. Now I'm kicking myself that I didn't get more of it because the blue is just so vibrant and beautiful. So, and then there's also, don't forget the prescription bottle.
Right. I was thinking if you were pointing, you had your ring on. I could see your ring.
Yeah. I've got my blue. So that's something I'm really obsessed with right now. Blue has never really been my color, but I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of into it. So I'm going with
When I
it.
think of Deb, I think of lapis, and that's blue. So I think blue has been your color. You just are wisening up to it being your color. Because every time we go shopping, Deb's like drawn right to the lapis, and she's always making stuff with lapis. So I think blue is your color.
Okay. Maybe I just haven't fully realized it and I'm just now becoming aware of it.
Mhm.
But
I'm gonna
that's what
call it
I'm
Deb blue. I'm gonna call it Deb blue instead of lapis blue.
obsessed. Oh, all right. So Brittany, I think it might be time to share our crimped challenge for this next month.
Well, we are going to ask. We're going to challenge the audience to make something,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
We
Yes.
want you to make something for this month's crimp challenge. And considering we upcycled or recycled items that aren't typically used in jewelry, that's what we are challenging you to do. Use something out of your kitchen, use something out of your bathroom, upcycle it, make it into something beautiful or funky or just innovative, and post it in our group, our crimped group, and we'll link that here. But that's our challenge to you for February. We upcycled, you upcycle.
Yeah. We're gonna do the challenges first and then we're gonna give them to you. So we've seen some of the little teaser challenge that we did in the beginning. We've seen some people participate. There's some great
Gorgeous.
challenge pieces on the page and on in the group. So you can still do that too. So you can still post the earring challenge if you want. But please make something recycled. We can't wait to see what you do. But now we're going to challenge each other for the next one. So do you want to go through the fixins for it, Brittany? Do you want me
Well,
to?
I will say a couple of them, but then you're going to have to remind me because I only remember
Okay.
two
Yeah.
off the top of my head. Well, we're going to be making a necklace this time. So the first time we both made earrings, this month we didn't make the same type of item, but in March we'll be making a necklace, and we're going to use a piece of fabric, um, something that has a square, right? Something square.
Yeah.
And what else, Deb?
Dangles.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So I think dangles. So let's get the definitions together. So dangles can be like bead dangles, they could be charm dangles, they could be tassel dangles, something that hangs down and does this.
Gotcha.
Fabric, I want to make sure we really maximize this challenge. So literally it's a piece of cloth, like not a piece of sari silk that was intended to be used and is already sort of shaped to be used. We need fabric, like an actual piece of fabric. And it could be something that you have fabric and you can cut a piece of it, or it could be like an old piece of t-shirt that you want to cut up. So I think that's a little bit more challenging. So not for you.
I already
But
have the item in my, like, I can already picture what I'm making. So thank you for coming up with this, Deb. I appreciate you. But the good thing is I haven't done a tutorial for this item on my channel yet. So you'll get a new tutorial for something that I know how to make that I forgot that I know how to make. So, but I'm
cool.
excited because I've never done it in the context of my current jewelry style. I've only done it in my past jewelry style. So I'm excited to see how that's expanded.
I tried not to have any preconceived notions. That's what's hard about these challenges is we both, with our experience, like could come up with anything that we know we could just make in a heartbeat. But I tried to think through just some random pieces and parts and put it down on paper and putting them all together. It'd just be fun to see the different iterations because I'm sure that we will have something very different. Although we do have a tendency to make things similar to each other.
Yeah, but not when we're like really trying to challenge, because so far we haven't made anything very similar with these challenges because we've been really trying to push ourselves. But like, yes, when we make stuff for the same brands or something, we with the same beads, we tend to move towards the same item.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. But I'm excited about this. I do, since I sort of sent it off to you to think about, I did think about something that might be interesting. So I don't know. We'll see, because when, this, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but it's fun, and that's what we're hoping will, spark some creativity in all of you guys. So take this challenge, take the previous challenge, the recycling challenge, and then we'll make our piece over the course of the next month. We'll share some teasers, or we like to do the reveal in the group so you guys can get a little bit of a preview. So we'll do that towards the end of the month. And then we'll release the challenge to you guys in the next edition of Crimped.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Brittany, we covered our very extensive list of things we wanted to do for the show today.
We did.
Woo!
So yeah, we got through it. Let us know what you liked hearing about today, what you thought, and what you want to hear about in the future. We have a long list, but we're always willing to add to the topics that you'd like to see. Let us know if you'd like to see any special guests, because we will start having guests on our show, and things that you want us to feature going forward. We're happy to do that.
Yeah. There's so many things that we've been talking about that will be coming up for you guys. So as always, thank you so much for being part of this adventure of Brittany and I's. And please keep participating in the group. We'll try and get some posts out there for you guys to take a look at. And Brittany, I guess that's it for now. Thanks everybody for being here.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one. We'll see you next month.
Bye.
And this is Crimp.
Crimped.
I gotta do it again. Deb, you take too long between at the end this. All right, 1, 2, 3. Wait.
This. Sorry. This.
1, 2, 3. Every single time. Okay, I gotta slow down because we're gonna do bloopers for this one. I feel it. There we go. All right, let me stop crying.